Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into chapter 6 of The Game by Lindsay Miller, so I hope that you guys are ready for this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. And sorry, we're obviously moving, so got all these boxes in the way. But chapter 6. Abby's parents weren't terribly mad. Her mom was mostly worried about infection, her dad about scarring. They let Leah into the backyard to wash the mud off of Omelette, and Jim drove Ben home. Devin stuck around to help with Omelette, so I guess today was a wash, Leah said, holding Omelette in place as Devin unknotted a twig from his fur. Devin laughed. We can get a clean start next week. Leah stroked the damp fur on Omelette's other side. Omelette let out a soft ahoo. She'll be okay, right? Leah asked. Are you asking because you're worried about her, or because you're worried about someone connecting it to assassins? He asked and tossed the twig away. I know I said it jokingly, but your priorities are a little weird. He picked out the last of Omelette's muddy mats. Leah was sure Omelette hadn't been this muddy when he left the park with Ben, but she couldn't blame Ben for letting him roll about, and the dog whined. I know, but you're such a good boy, Devin mumbled. A squirrel leapt along the fence and around Abby's backyard, and Omelette tensed. Don't even think about it, Egg. Egg? Leah asked. He's a good egg, Devin said. I can't believe you shot him and then let Abby make a deal with you. It was her idea, Leah frowned. She wasn't sure how to read Devin. He had joked with her, but he also seemed a little mad about the whole thing. Sometimes she wished people came with handbooks. Devin Diaz loves puns, baby talks to dogs, and will judge you for loving assassins too much. Of course, I was more worried about Abby, and that was true. Leah's hands had been trembling by the time they had gotten to Abby's house, but once I knew she was fine, I started thinking ahead. This game is determined in seconds and minutes, not days. We needed to know right then what would happen, or else all of our plans would be useless. Abby was easygoing, but she could have died. Leah had needed to take advantage of any good feelings Abby had before she found out for sure if she needed stitches. Sure, but it's still just a game, Devin said. I've never seen you this into something. Devin was into acceptable things, music and medicine. Leah's interest, video and tabletop games, were things her parents definitely didn't understand. They could brag about her brother's soccer and his stellar grades, but with Leah there was nothing to brag about. It's just, Leah shrugged, sucked on her teeth, and shook her head. She started rubbing Omelette dry. You wouldn't get it. You're good at things. I'm good at things because I work at them, he said. I work so hard at so many things, Leah said, her voice rising. She took a breath. When you say that, it sounds like you're implying that I don't work at things, like I don't practice, like I'm lazy. Leah tried and tried, but by the time the secrets to calculus A, B, or chemistry made sense to her, the class was already on to some other new subject, and Leah's grade was a solid 75%. But with assassins, she knew her classmates in the town. She knew how games like this worked. She had finally had all of this time she needed to prep. She could finally be good at something. Sorry, I really didn't mean it like that. He finished drying Omelette off. People say stuff to me all the time. They tell me I'm so lucky I'm good at music, or that I have an ear for it. He made a face. I spent years practicing. They only ever see the outcome, never all the failures. Then he looked at Leah. You're not failing at anything, he said. I've been in half of your classes. Yeah, but I'm not good at them either. Miss Christie had asked my name 3 weeks ago, and I've had her for 2 classes. Leah patted Omelette's head and shrugged. I'm really good at games, and they're never important. This one is. It's the only thing that Lincoln cares about that I'm good at. And her parents were a part of Lincoln. The adults of the town might turn a blind eye to the antics of assassins, but they respected the tradition. She had always known her parents were disappointed in her, but this was a chance to make them proud. I see where you get your mixed up priorities now. Devin pulled away from Omelette and gently draped the towel over his head like a veil. Omelette woofed and flicked his head back. So the game is really important to you, huh? Leah nodded. I guess I should try harder then, he said. A pleasant warmth fluttered in her chest, and she smiled. Thank you, and I promise not to shoot anyone else off of a bridge. It was an easy promise to keep. By Monday, Abby's injury was common knowledge. How she got it was not. She was teaching Omelette to box, Georgia said. She sat next to Abby in every class they had together. Omelette won. Abby rolled her eyes and stole a piece of Georgia's breakfast bar. Leah and Jim were there. They saw Omelette beat me. He has a mean uppercut, Jim said. How's your arm? It still hurts, Abby said. The cops showed up. They did? Leah asked nervously. Abby nodded. They said someone had vandalized the bridge, and by someone they meant me. Why would anyone vandalize a bridge? Leah asked. There were too many noisy neighbors for vandalism to turn out well. Why would you? I think they thought I was trying to set a trap for assassins. Abby leaned back and prodded the brace on her wrist. My mom told them that the bridge had messed me up, so the city could expect a letter about medical bills. You're too kind-hearted for traps, Leah said, and swung her backpack around. The mesh was terrible for keeping secrets, and Abby laughed before Leah had even finished pulling the water gun free. Since you're still alive, I thought you could use this. Leah had modded the barrel to be more accurate, hopefully over long distances, and the tank held just enough for 5 shots, so that it wasn't too heavy to lift quickly. Her dad had complained about the melted plastic smell that hung around the backyard as Leah worked on it, but the outcome was worth it. Abby took it with reverence she usually reserved for dogs and books. Did you make this? She asked, and when Leah nodded, she grinned. It's such cheap plastic. How did you not just break it? Oh no, I broke it a few times. This one worked out. Leah tapped the neon blue tip. It's way more accurate than normal and light enough for you to use with only one arm. Abby laughed and tucked it into her bag as her teacher walked in. I wasn't expecting this, thank you. Of course, Leah said. She needed to keep Abby happy for now. Leah had heard 3 different accounts of how Abby had hurt her arm before lunch, and all of them featured the game. More than a few students whispered furiously about breaking the bridge could mess it up for all of them. Leah sank down into her seat at the lunch table. How can you be so good at poker and have such a bad poker face? Jim pulled out their lunch. What's your plan? Let's wait for Devin, Leah said, pointing toward his little frame dodging the elbows and yellow lunch trays of the crowd outside the cafeteria. I heard about Abby's fight with a vandalizing freshman, he said instead of greeting them. Leah yanked open a bag of flamin' hot Cheetos. I thought she assassinated the council. Obviously not, Jim said, because we all know the truth. Omelet's a werewolf. Okay, I hadn't heard that one. Devin sat down next to Leah, his leg a mere few inches from hers, and pulled out a squat thermos filled with soup. Steam fogged up his glasses when he unscrewed the top. Regardless, people are a bit nervous about the council canceling the game. They wouldn't cancel, Leah said quickly. They would if the cops got involved, Jim said. 1 year canceled is better than all future years banned. Abby seems happy to play along so far, Leah said. Her Cheeto-dusted fingers left orange prints on the table as she fidgeted. I can't believe her arm was fractured. The fall tore out some of her nails, you know. I definitely checked on her hand, and she had all of her nails, unless she's been hiding extras. Devin leaned back. It was just an accident. If anything, whoever is in charge of the park is responsible. Most of the adults in town played assassins. They know the deal, Leah said. We need to decide what to do once our week is up and we can go after her. She'll change her schedule, Devin said. The one you know. Leah stared at him. Obviously, assassins was hers. It hurt that Devin didn't know she knew that, as if she weren't able to figure it out. Abby would return to her walk soon, fractured arm or no. She was picky about her walks with Omelet, as she was about her books. She had cried in 4th grade when Sam Allen dog-eared a page in her favorite novel. There's a reason I agreed to her deal, you know, Leah said, even if you can't figure it out. Devin downed the last of his soup, and behind the lip of his thermos, his mouth curled up. You liked watching me fail, didn't you? Leah asked, frowning. Aside from the fact that Abby fell, it was a little funny, Devin said, smirking. Admit it. Leah groaned. I only missed because Omelet tackled her. And you didn't observe the whims of dogs and write them down with a full appendix? He clutched his heart. I'm disappointed. I could set up a target in my backyard and you could come practice if you think it would help. He grinned as he said it, and flicking the heat filled her chest till her words felt hot and heavy. Are you inviting me over? She asked. Actually, I was planning on betraying you and using you for target practice as revenge for getting me caught up in this. He looked away. Of course, Leah said, smiling. I suppose I'll just have to prove my worth this week. That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.